everyone. And now it's about 2 p.m. here in Vancouver. So why don't we just go ahead and just get started? So, hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're checking in from. Welcome to our session today on the Master of Management and the Bachelor and Master of Management, or the B+MM Dual Degree. My name is Kevin Lee, and I'm the Recruitment and Admissions Manager here at the Robert H. Lee Graduate School, where the programs are housed. I'm incredibly excited that you're all here today to listen to this presentation about our two very unique programs. Before we begin, I would like to inform you that our session will be recorded and will be shared on our YouTube channel for future use. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge that UBC's Vancouver Point Grey campus is situated on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Musqueam people. I would also like to acknowledge that you're joining us today from many places near and far, and acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. UBC has had a strong connection to the Musqueam people, and we are hoping that throughout your time at UBC, the University of British Columbia, you will learn more about the Musqueam people, the history of this land, and to honor its original inhabitants. Joining me today are my colleagues Keith Lai and Patricia Panaflorida, who will be manning our Zoom webinar and our Q&A. In addition, as you can see, I'll be joined later by 4 illustrious alumni who have recently graduated from the Master of Management and the B+MM Dual Degree. I'll be introducing them later, but for now you can see a preview of who will be our guests today. And of course, in the room today, I would be remiss not to mention you, our attendees, so welcome. Here's our agenda for today. I want to clarify that today's presentation is aimed at a few different audiences. For our MMs, you should be students who are about to graduate or have recently graduated. And for the B+MM Dual Degree, you should be students who will be either a second year or third year student at UBC in September 2021. I should also mention that our chat box will not be used for Q&A. So if you do have questions, please put them in the Q&A box. So the big question I have for you today, and hopefully it's one that you'll have thought of yourself before today's presentation, is why are you here today? Why are you considering adding another degree? I'm going to start a poll now, and if you may, I'll give you a minute for you to select your choices. So for the next minute, if you could please go ahead and pick which one of these options you fit under, that would be wonderful. Okay, seeing them come in. Wonderful, great, excellent. Great, I have about 70% of you have voted. Go ahead and add that. Not to worry, everything's anonymous. It's not pinned to your profile. So go ahead and pick any choice that you feel under. Excellent. Great, so we have about 90% of you voted. I have about a couple more who could vote. I'll give you another 10 seconds. Okay, excellent. Now let me see if I can share these results with you. Okay, so hopefully you're able to view the polling results. But as you can see here, about half of you said that you felt stuck with your choices. You're looking for a way to expand or pivot your options. About 38% of you, coming up close, felt that your bachelor's was or is very technical and you're looking for something more practical to add onto your resume. Next up would be about 16% of you felt, you don't know, you're ready for a change, which is always good to know and to have that feeling. And about 8% of you just don't feel ready to find a career just yet. So thank you so much for your choices, everyone, and adding that onto our little interactive poll today. There's a great diversity of opinions here, but regardless of which choice that you personally fall under, my hope is that by the end of today and presentation and panel, you will see how our program can be the answer to your question. So by the end of either program, the MM or the B+MM Dual Degree, you will graduate with something called the Master of Management. But what is this exactly? So essentially, a Master of Management is designed to provide non-business bachelor students with the skills and knowledge to gain a competitive edge in the job market. Today, we'll talk about 3 things that make our MM stand out. And with our MM, students have expanded their options, built leadership skills, and have been able to study business without compromising on their bachelor's degree. And so if you look on the screen right now, the 3 alumni that we feature on this slide really exemplify this journey and the many different options that you can come out of it with. So on the left, we have Angela. And Angela was able to expand her opportunities in her field. She studied microbiology and immunology, quite a technical degree. And she combined the management skills taught in the program to become a consultant at Bayer Consulting in Germany. Karen D'Souza is one of our few alumni who pursued more schooling, and specifically medical school. He currently utilizes the leadership and the career training during his MM to stand out in his role as a general surgery resident at UBC Hospital. And on the far right, we have Emily Pett, who graduated with a Bachelor in Fine Arts. So she was able to study what she loved without compromising her vision. She knew that she would have a business degree by the time that she was done her program. And while she admits doing a fine arts degree would normally have, a bit of a contentious knack, she utilized the B+MM Dual Degree to go into the arts industry with a clear focus on our career. So how do we get you to this point? With these 3 pillars: 1, applied hands-on learning in business; 2, mandatory consulting experience; and 3, personalized career coaching. I'm going to go over each point in full detail to show you how these 3 pillars will work together to make you a competitive career force. So first, applied hands-on learning in business. Here at Sauder, I always like to say the classroom is the boardroom. We build all of our programs here at Sauder around experiential coursework, or a flipped classroom. So it's going to be an assortment of lecture, case studies, group projects, live debates, and presentations. You'll have access to tech incubators if you wanted to, such as the ones listed on the bottom, and also research centers for innovation and impact investing. Your curriculum in either the MM or the B+MM will be vast. It's going to be a broad spectrum of business and management disciplines. You're going to be taking courses in finance, marketing, accounting, business development, analytics, and also courses designed to help you think like a leader, such as creativity and entrepreneurship. Of course, your university degree will be a permanent part of your brand. For most of you, this will be quite important. Studying at UBC, a top 40 university, which has seen 180 companies alone spun off from UBC research, means that you'll gain a degree with recognition and stature. And at our renowned business school, no less, we're ranked #1 in Canada for business and economics, and #1 in all of North America for our international outlook. Not only that, the Master of Management you'll be earning is the first MM of its kind in North America. We developed this about 13 years ago. It's also the #1 Master of Management in all of North America, ranked 3 years in a row. And for those of you applying to the B+MM Dual Degree, this is the only dual degree of its kind in the world. Our school has seen over 40,000 alumni in 80+ countries pass through our doors. And it's a network that you get to tap into when you're a UBC MM alum. Our school has worldly connections with schools like Harvard, Duke, NUS, and more. And you will have access to resources like our Entrepreneurship Accelerator and centers again. And when you start here at UBC Sauder, you start with a community of great students, some of whom you will meet in our panel later. Our classroom will be in some ways become a microcosm of the real world. We take into the program, the Master of Management, a maximum of about 60 students every year. And we've ensured that not only is our class internationally diverse, they're also diverse in terms of background, expertise, and knowledge. I'm also proud that QS has awarded the Master of Management program with a maximum score for the female student section, recognizing that our student body has a greater female population than the global mean of 49%. For the B+MM Dual Degree, during your time in your undergrad, you'll be working with students from all across campus, all from different faculties, and of course with the same international reach, as you can see on the screen. Now that we've covered the first point, let's go on to the second point, the mandatory consulting experience. Now, the mandatory consulting experience that you'll be doing is called the Community Business Project. In groups of about 3 to 5 students, you'll be connected to a nonprofit or a social enterprise. These organizations will be your clients and you, their consultants. And essentially, this is going to be your playground. You're going to take what you learn in class in the second half of the year and use it to do good and help community partners solve unique business challenges. And the key to experiential opportunities is that it gives you expertise that you can take with you for life. As you can see here on the screen, our alumni love the fact that what they do in the classroom is practical and has real life implications for them in their careers. Now, the last point that I would like to cover is the personalized career coaching. And here's why we think that it's critical to consider this. It's especially critical now for students to start on the right foot. A study by Burning Glass shows that those who start out behind tend to stay behind. Underemployment leaves graduates disadvantaged. As you can see here, the numbers show how this is the case. Those starting out unemployed are more likely to stay that way. Workers who are initially underemployed are 5 times more likely to remain so even after 5 years. 43% of workers in a study were unemployed in their first job, underemployed in their first job, or unemployed, and the cycle becomes more difficult to escape. But on the flip side, graduates with good jobs upon graduation are the opposite, in that they earn more faster than those who are underemployed. According to a Gallup study, they earned at a rate 12 times higher than their peers who took a year or more to find a good job. So we, of course, feel that this is incredibly critical to the success of our students. And so we've utilized and implemented a number of different resources to help our students get to this point of success. The Business Career Center here at the UBC Sauder School of Business is known as the Hari B. Varshney Business Career Center, or the BCC. And they exist to offer personalized and transformational experiences that will give students the confidence to fulfill personal and professional goals. In your time as a B+MM student or an MM student, you will gain access to the following services. But rather than giving you just a laundry list of resources, it's important that you learn how to get the most out of them. We bring in trained staff to walk you through each one of these resources, and our career coaches will work with you one-on-one. You'll be able to access emotional intelligence programming, company information sessions, interview, resume, and cover letter prep that reflects what employers are looking for, and at the same time, have a personal touch point to speak about how to improve. There's also training on understanding how to network and learning that referrals are many times made through our alumni connections and industry professionals. You can see that these are the top 6 industries that hired our students last year. Students will have the option to go down a career that dives deeper, either into business or their bachelor's degree background. Here are a few of the organizations, corporations, nonprofits, not-for-profits that have hired our students in the past. As you can see, there's a combination of multinational firms, local companies, and startups. Being part of the MM program also means that you'll gain access to exclusive benefits with our status in the Global Network for Advanced Management, or GNAM. This is a network that was started by the Yale University, and UBC is the only Canadian school that's part of this network. As a graduate student, as an MM student here at UBC Sauder, you'll have the chance to apply to an exclusive Yale dual degree, open only to alumni of an MM program in the network. Or if you'd like, you may attend a network week, which are 1-week courses hosted at a partner university like IE Business School, UC Dublin, or Yale, all tuition free. The global opportunities also continue with exchange and travel abroad options. Hopefully, obviously, once COVID has kind of been ameliorated after the program is finished. UBC MM study abroad programs take place normally during the summer months and vary in length from 1 to 7 weeks. In a normal non-COVID year, you will get an opportunity to study new subjects and network with future international business leaders from around the world. One thing I should mention here is how they deviate. The content for both the MM and the B+MM Dual Degree is the same. The only difference is the timelines are different. I'll start first by talking about the Master of Management. Now, the Master of Management Classic as a graduate degree is 9 months long. It will go from August 2021 to May 2022. And as you can see here, here are our 3 points: the personalized career coaching, the hands-on coursework, and also the consulting experience. Again, if you are a recent graduate or you're in your final year at university, you may apply for the Master of Management Classic, the 9-month program from August 2021 to May 2022. Now, if you are a current first-year student or current second-year student, you are going to apply for the B+MM Dual Degree. And the way to think about this program is the breakdown. 6 courses, 6 months. This will help you remember that you take 6 courses throughout your undergrad and then follow with another 6 months where you will only do the Master of Management coursework. The second year entry, there is a bit of an error here. You take 2 courses in your second year, not 1, 2 courses in your third year, and 2 courses in your fourth year. For anyone who's a current second year entering third year in September 2021, you will take 3 business courses in your third year and 3 courses in your fourth year. Now, these courses, these business courses will double count, meaning that these courses will count towards both your undergraduate degree and towards your Master of Management. So there's no overloading on coursework. You're not going to be doing more than the average student or forced to give up opportunities. And students in a B+MM Dual Degree are encouraged to do co-op, go on exchange, or take up any opportunity that you would otherwise. We encourage students to, of course, make the most of their university experience. And once you finish the bachelor's degree, whether you choose to go into your 4th year or 5th year, whenever you choose to finish your bachelor's degree, you would then take an additional 6 months after your graduation to do the Master of Management full-time. So again, 6 courses in your undergrad and then 6 months afterwards. The fastest way, as I mentioned, to finish a bachelor's degree is 4 years, but as you can see right here, you are able to do a 5th year. Okay. And of course, this is the breakdown for the B+MM Dual Degree. Now, how do I get into the program? I will talk first about the Master of Management. The first thing to note that in order to be eligible for the program, students need to have a non-business bachelor's degree, and they also need to have less than 2 years of full-time work experience by the start of the program. So you can be working right now full-time, but you need to have less than 24 months or 2 years of full-time work experience by August 2021. Now, the rest of the admission requirements. As you can see right here, we do look at your grades and academic achievement. A GPA of B+ is considered competitive. We'll also look at your GMAT or your GRE. There's a minimum of 2 references that we'll require from you. And we'll also look at written and video essays. For any of you who have attended a university where the language of instruction was not English, you will have to do an English proficiency test, such as the IELTS or the TOEFL or the CALE exam. And for competitive applicants, we will be doing a personal interview. I would also like to add that our application is rolling admissions, meaning first come, first served. Scholarships are available on a merit base, and they're evaluated automatically upon admission. So there's no extra forms or fields to fill out in your application to be considered. The next deadline is January 5th, 2021. So there's quite a there's a good ample amount of time for you to start working on your GMAT or your GRE and submit your application. And you can submit your application before submitting your GMAT or your GRE. Now, how do I get into the B+MM Dual Degree? There are 2 easy steps. The first step is to ensure that you are in currently or about to transfer in to an eligible faculty. And the second step is just to apply to the B+MM Dual Degree. Firstly, as I mentioned, you will need to ensure that you're in or you are transferring into an eligible non-business faculty. This will determine the non-business bachelor's degree that you'll pair up with the MM. For those of you who are transferring from another university into UBC, you want to make sure that your application is in by the deadline of December 1st if you want to be considered on your interim transcripts, or at the very least, January 15th, okay? So this is for students who are transferring from another university. So you do need to start your UBC undergraduate application at you.ubc.ca. The first deadline to submit your BMM application is January 19th, 2021. If you're at UBC and you want to switch faculties into another eligible faculty, note that you need to submit a request in by January 15th, 2021 on your Student Service Center to make this change. If you're a current UBC student, but you don't wish to switch faculties and you are in an eligible faculty already, of course, no need to do anything but the next step. The second step of 2 is to submit the BMM Dual Degree application, which is going to be separate. You can find this application on our website, sauder.ubc.ca/BMM, and our application is simple. We ask for personal information and then a 90-second video. You'll record this on your own time and then upload it to a video sharing site. As you can see, the question is listed here and it will also be in your application. The video is nothing to be worried about. You'll film it on your own time, and some tips I always like to pass on to our applicants. First off, be professional. You are applying to a business program. Secondly, communicate clearly in your video and make sure that we can hear your audio. And the third tip I like to give out is answer the question and stick to the time limit. There's no fancy edits that you need to do, no big dolly shots or drone shots or anything. The important thing is that you do answer the question and you stick to the time limit of 90 seconds. Again, here are the 2 steps. And if you haven't started yet, I will highly encourage starting an application today, given that the first deadline is in a little over a month. Here, of course, you can see how the tuition is going to be broken up for our B+MM students. You pay 30% of the tuition in your undergraduate degree, and then the 70% will be taken at the final 6 months of the program. We've come close to the first bit of our presentation today. If you do have any questions for me or you'd like to get in touch, you can touch base with me personally at kevin.ly@sauder.ubc.ca. Otherwise, we will be taking admissions-related questions into the Q&A box for the next 10 minutes. So right now, if you can preload your questions into Q&A and I'll be answering them live. Okay, so let's hop into the Q&A box. Okay, so can I start the Master of Management program in January or only in September? Thank you for that question, Joe. So for the Master of Management program, the classic 9-month program, you can only start that, we only do 1 entry every year, and you can only start that in late August. For our B+MM Dual Degree, of course, you will start your undergraduate career in September, and then you'll take those business courses alongside your regular undergraduate courses. Now, for the B+MM Dual Degree, the only entry open upon finishing your graduation from your bachelor's degree, that 6-month Master of Management portion, that will start in June and end in December, okay? Okay, Su Yang, I saw that on your website, you need 155 for both verbal and math in the GRE test. So why 320 in the just now slide? So right now, 155 in both the verbal and math, of course, will add up to 310. So for this, 320 is the competitive score. So you can have between 310 to 320, we will look at it, but anything above 320 means that it is a strong competitive score and will probably put you in contention for scholarships. Okay, not a guarantee of scholarships because it is a holistic application, but anything 320 and above is a very strong score. Joe, are we considered automatically for scholarship or do we need to apply independently? Now for scholarships available at the graduate school for our MM Classic students, you will be considered automatically. Now this certainly means that you can still apply for external scholarships or any other scholarships. Okay, Victoria, are you looking for specific references for the MM program, as in character, school, or job, or is it up to us to pick which referees we use? Now, you can pick either academic and or professional. So it can be a mix of both, or it could be one or the other. Now, the best reference I normally recommend are the gold star references is someone who has supervised you in the past, or at least know you well enough to comment on your leadership ability and your managerial potential. So if you're going to pick a professor or a teacher, that's absolutely fine as long as they're able to comment on your skill as a student and your ability to collaborate with others. Teresa, hi there. I noticed that for the third year entry, the deadline application said that it was due May 25th. That is the final deadline. So you can apply earlier than later. So May 25th is the date that is the latest to apply. Sandra, hello. You stated that you may submit your application before your GMAT or your GRE. Does Sauder offer conditional acceptance? If so, at what point would the GMAT or the GRE score be in? So we do not do conditional acceptance. The reason why you may want to submit your application before getting your GMAT or your GRE score in is because we backdate applications when it comes to interview consideration. So for example, a candidate who submits their application in November, but gets their GMAT or their GRE score in January, would be considered for an interview sooner than someone who has both their GMAT score and their application submitted in January. So we backdate applications for interview consideration based on when you submit your application, with or without your GMAT or your GRE score. Justin asked, are there any prerequisite courses for BMM? So no, there are no prerequisite courses. You don't need to have taken any business courses or anything. You can just go ahead and apply for the B+MM Dual Degree. So Julia asked, just to clarify, if I'm applying to the B+MM Dual Degree to enter next year, I only need to do the 90-second video, right? There is no other test. Yes, for our B+MM Dual Degree applicants, you do not need to do GMAT or the GRE. The only thing in your application that we would look at would be the grades that you come in with and also that 90-second video. And this is also assuming that, of course, you are currently in an eligible faculty or you're going to be applying to transfer into an eligible faculty. Lior asks, hi, just to clarify, the final deadline in the B+MM Dual Degree is January 19th. Yes, the first deadline is January 19th. The final deadline is in May. So January 19th is the early admission deadline. So Tamako asked, apologies if I mispronounced your name. Do the editing skills affect the application, or it doesn't matter as long as we answer the question clearly? So there's no editing, there's no extra editing that's required. We don't need you to do any big edits or anything, or do kind of sync in any music or whatnot. Now you can present a creative video, but first and foremost, even though we appreciate creativity, the answer is going to be the most important thing. So answer the question clearly. And this is true of the video essay, not only for the B+MM Dual Degree, but also for the Master of Management. Tina asks, there's a good question. Do you take mature students for the B+MM program? And if so, would it be the same requirements as the regular students? So mature students are eligible to apply. Now I'm going to take this two ways. One is that you haven't applied to UBC yet. UBC has different admission requirements for mature students. So you can look into that and then apply into UBC as a mature student. And certainly you can apply into the B+MM Dual Degree. Now, let's say that you're currently a mature student looking to go into the B+MM Dual Degree. That is also suitable too. One thing we should note is that, of course, the demographic normally are students who are, have just started university or currently doing their first degree. So as long as you recognize that the demographic around you will be a bit younger, that's absolutely okay. Now we have another 4 minutes before we move on into our panel, and there's quite a few questions here too. Do you have any prep? And I've gotten a couple of questions about this. Do you have any preparation or recommendation tips for the GMAT exam? Now, one of the big things that I normally do recommend to individuals who are applying into our Master of Management and who are, preparing for the GMAT or the GRE, one thing to note is that you should look at the official sources. So first and foremost, go on either the GMAT or the GRE website and check to make sure that you understand the exam. You can also take a free pre-test for either examination so that you can see kind of which tests that you have better success with. Okay. We always like to say that unless you're going into management consulting or finance, you should take the test that is going to be best suited for you. Now, for those who are considering management consulting or finance, we do normally recommend the GMAT, as there are certain mentorships that will require the GMAT score to get into. Now, I did see another question up here. If I can expand on the GMAT or GRE test, please, from Jules. Yes, so the GMAT and GRE test, they are standardized. There are examinations, adaptive examinations that you do on the computer. Now, both the GMAT and the GRE are offering at-home versions. So you can actually do this from the comfort of your home, assuming that you meet certain requirements with technology. Now, for the GMAT and the GRE, they are quite long exams. I believe they can be about 3 to 4 hours long. And for that, they do ask for a verbal section. So it is going to test you on grammar or vocabulary. And there's also going to be a math section. So this is going to test you on your quantitative and logic skills. Gurmal asks, what if you apply for the MM program and you meet other requirements besides a 3.3 plus GPA in your undergrad? Can you bring it up via open studies? So via the holistic application, we will look at other parts of your application. So if you apply for the MM program and the only thing that's kind of bringing you down on your grades, there are other parts of the application that could bring it up. So you'll want to focus on the other essential parts, such as the GMAT or the GRE exam, the essays that you write within the application. Your references should be quite strong. Anything within your application other than the grades should meet competitive requirements. In terms of admission to the BMM, are certain aspects weighed differently, or is everything looked at equally? Thanks for the question, William. They are looked at equally. So again, 2 parts of the application, grades and video. If we get a score, Maria asks, if we get a score lower than 310, are we still eligible to apply for the MM? Certainly. I should mention though, anything below 300, we normally will not look at. So even if everything within the application is stellar, it will take quite a bit to go from a sub 300 score up. Sub 300, normally our admissions team will not even touch. So if you do get a score lower than 310, you're still eligible to apply, but everything has to be stellar. Everything else in the application has to be stellar. Now, 1 more minute. I can't answer all the questions, but I'm going to try to get through as much as I can. Here we go. If I'm looking for a psychological counselor related job, will an MM degree be helpful? Now, Victoria, that's a good question. This is going to be dependent on a couple of things. Also, Yutong, I see that you're asking about investment banking or finance, whether they will be helpful or not. That depends on which mentorships that you'll be joining during your time in the program, what resources that you'll be leaning on. Certainly, we've had individuals graduate from the MM going to investment banking, going to finance. I don't know, I can't recall, technically speaking. Actually, I do know of one of our students. I recently just looked at her profile, actually, where she is currently doing a clinical psychology degree at Adler University after her MM. So she worked in healthcare for a couple of years before post-MM, before she jumped into a clinical psychology degree at Adler. So whether it's going to be helpful or not, now it will provide you with the fundamental business skills. I don't know necessarily if it will help you in terms of the qualifications that you'll need to become a recognized psychological counselor, but it will kind of help you with understanding different aspects of business, looking at different problems holistically and through different frameworks. But whether it's directly related to going into counseling psychology or psychological counseling, I believe that there are different requirements that you will need to meet in order to go into that field, different regulations and kind of different admissions bodies that you'll need to look at too. Okay. Now, I believe that we are going to head right now into our panel. So thank you very much. I will have my admissions team try to help and answer as many questions. But for now, I am going to jump into our panel. Let's see here. So I'd like to introduce our alumni panel for today. So now I'll ask our 4 panelists to turn on their cameras and mics. We have here today 2 alumni from the BMM program, and 2 alumni from the MM program. And I'll keep the slide up for the next bit. And audience, if you're able to, please populate the Q&A box with your questions, and you're able to upvote on questions too. So why don't we get introductions going? And maybe we can go in the order from left to right that we see on the screen right now. So maybe we'll start with Akshat, going to Sophia, go to Carl, and then go to Amber. So maybe, hi everyone, welcome to this. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for obviously dedicating your time to meeting our prospective students. Maybe we'll start with Akshat. Can you please introduce yourself? Maybe what was your bachelor's degree and what are you doing right now?
Yeah, sure. Am I audible? Just wanted to check.
Ooh, okay, audio check. I think we'll need you to kind of turn up your volume a little bit.
Oh, is it better now?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So hi, everyone. First of all, thank you, Kevin. Thanks for inviting us and just having a discussion with, prospective students. So just giving a bit of background about myself. So I am currently working at Lululemon in the operations team. And in terms of my background, I come from India and I had an undergraduate degree in engineering. And post that, I was running my own apparel manufacturing business for a while. And then I decided to pursue my MM, and post MM, I'm here right now. So yeah, I think looking forward to the session today, and just let us know about any questions you have.
Wonderful, thank you. Sophia, thanks for joining us. Maybe you can tell us what your bachelor's degree was and what are you doing right now?
Okay, sorry, my internet got cut off there, but so my name is Sophia. My bachelor's degree was in food, nutrition, and health with a major in food science. Currently, I'm working in the food industry for PepsiCo in the sales function as a customer development manager for the Frito-Lay side. So I deal with chips and all that.
Cool. Thank you very much. And I love Frito chips. They are my favorite chips. I don't eat chips very regularly, so hopefully I can cop a couple of bags. Carl, what about yourself?
Hi everyone. My name is Carl and I have a bachelor's in microbiology and immunology with co-op experience. I currently work at Stem Cell Technology, one of Canada's largest biotech company, as a project associate.
Great. Thank you so much, Carl. And Amber.
Hey everyone. So my name is Amber. I studied international relations in my undergrad. I'm originally from San Francisco too. If anyone's American here, happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes.
And I'm currently working as an account strategist at a software startup. So I work on the customer success team.
Great. Thank you so much. And again, yes, happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to actually stop the sharing of the screen so that way we can see each other's faces. And hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this chat. And thank you so much again for joining us today. Now, while we wait for more people to kind of populate their questions into the Q&A, maybe I'll ask you, this audience is going to be, is quite career-minded. So maybe we'll go in this order again. Maybe Akshat, you can start us off, but what was something from the career coaching or the tools that you had during your time as an MM or a BMM student that really helped you get to where you are right now?
Yeah. Sure. So I think there were a few things, which I really liked from the career coaching part of BCC. The first was definitely the alumni connections. So as Kevin mentioned, those are a great resource, and a lot of referrals sometimes end up in, a lot of your alumni connections end up in job referrals. So I would say definitely that's a great thing, which BCC helps us to facilitate those connections. And also another thing is just about the preparation. You get the opportunity to practice your interviews with Carly. She's wonderful. She's a career coach over there. So you really get to flesh out your story in a much more better way than you could just by doing by yourself. So I think those are a few of the things which I really liked about the career coaching part.
Excellent. Thank you. And Sophia?
Similar to Akshat as well. So I definitely recommend the BCC. They have this resource called Cool, and I attended all of the info sessions that I was interested in just to see what I wanted to do with my career. Even if they took out a lot of time on my hands, it was completely worth it. And it's important to emphasize too that, amazing resumes aren't enough to get you the job, and it's all about connections. And with the info sessions that I attended, it got me the connections I needed to land the dream job that I have right now.
Wonderful. Thank you. Carl?
Yeah, I think echoing what Akshat and Sophia said, there were multiple things that really helped me to where I am now from the career coaching and the tools that Sauder had. So first would be the coaching itself, and also the assignments that were designed for us to self-reflect, because when you're going through the program, or even with your bachelor's, you get so busy at school, and it's just sometimes easy to forget to just sit down and think about what drives you, what's your strengths, what you dream, what you want to do. And the other thing that really helped me were the mock interviews. And to just be transparent, I'm terrible at interviews, but the mock interviews really helped me prepare for those actual interviews that I had.
Thank you. Amber?
Yeah, I would agree. The mock interviews and the resume reviews were very helpful. I would definitely attend all of the networking events that are going to be, made possible for you. Just having the experience, to go up to people, to be able to kind of give your story to them is really valuable. And you'll notice that you'll carry that with you after the program. And I also was a part of the UBC Sales Mentorship Program. So that was more specific, I would say, for coaching, but I actually got to learn a bit more about an area I was interested in, and I would just seek out the opportunities like that are of interest to you. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. So we do have a question that's come in from Kushi, who asks, this is directed to our B+MM Dual Degree alumni. So was it tough to balance between your social life and education because you were doing 2 degrees at a time? Does it become hectic or take a toll on your life outside of university? So maybe we could start with Carl.
Yeah, social. I didn't really have energy. No, I'm kidding. It does take away some time because, you're essentially doing 2 degrees, especially during that 3rd year and 4th year time of your bachelor's. And that's when also the science courses get really specific and more project-based as opposed to those midterms and exams. So, and at least for me, I can speak, I had more lab work too in my 3rd year and 4th year. So that took away some time. But I looked at it as like, this is temporary. What I need to do what I need to do now to succeed is I had to sacrifice a little bit, but I did maintain some volunteer hours and like kept in touch with my friends. Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Sophia?
Yeah, similar to Carl, because we do have, science backgrounds. But you know what, the business side of things, it was actually motivating for me because I was more applicable to the day-to-day life. And I think that I actually developed really good friends in the courses that I took for my master's side. There was a fresh change of pace from the technical courses. So yeah, I think it was something that I welcomed. It was a great fresh change.
Excellent.
Yeah, if I could add something, totally. Yeah, the topics between science and like business courses were different by nature. Like science is like so formulaic, but like business, there was a lot of emphasis on soft skills, looking at strategy, looking at the big picture. And yeah, I truly loved that too. And it was, refreshing.
Excellent. Maybe I'll direct this question to Amber and Akshat. What was it like doing a kind of a full-time degree, 9 months? Like you had to, or maybe let's talk first about leading up to applying, because you had to get your GMAT or your GRE score in, you had to get all your referrals in and whatnot, which can complicate the admissions process. So maybe we'll start with Amber, kind of leading up to the program. What were some things that you thought were kind of big time considerations that our applicants should know about before applying?
Yeah, you mentioned it there, but asking for your references early is critical. When I was applying, I was also working part-time, and things get super busy, right? And you don't want that to get pushed off until the last minute. So identify someone who knows you really well, who's going to represent you, and from a professional background. Do that early. Start studying early for the GRE as well. Just make sure that you have a schedule in place, because I was in your shoes too, and I know how busy it can get. And I think that would be really helpful.
Great. Akshat, what about you?
Yeah, I think Amber rightly said a lot of points. And I think one thing which I would like to add is definitely writing your SOP. So a good SOP really takes time. So just don't put it for the last minute that, you'll be able to come up with the final draft in the first go. So it requires a lot of revisions, and it requires a lot of introspection by yourself. So I would say just start early and just maybe have someone to look at it from a third person perspective, that how does it feel? Are you able to really communicate your story really well, or do you need some kind of modification? So I think starting early on that really helps you a lot. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So one question here from Teresa Dang. She says, hi everyone. First off, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day to answer our questions and being here today. I was wondering, and this is probably going to be directed to everyone, so I'll pick kind of the order that we'll talk in. How different do you think your career would have been if you did not pursue the BMM or the MM portion of your education? So maybe we can start with, we'll start with Amber.
Yeah, it would have been completely different to answer it, just in a one-liner. I mentioned I studied international relations, and I thought I wanted to go into policy and become a policy analyst. The MM really opened up my eyes to a bunch of different career options that I didn't know, were possible. I think in your undergrad studies, you can get stuck in this tunnel vision of this is, the one path for me. And the MM really allowed me to be where I am. I'm working in tech now from a non-technical background. So I'm really thankful for everything it's given me, and I would recommend just being really open-minded.
Great. Before I go to the next person, tech is one of the big industries that do hire our students, whether it's in the BMM or the MM. So for you, Amber, coming into a technical company without having that tech experience, was that challenging for you, or did you have to supplement that with knowledge from other areas?
Yeah, I leaned on a lot of things that I learned in the MM, but I also had internship experience working at another technology startup. So I think the combination of the two really helped me, even though my undergrad was in a social science. Yeah, so don't be afraid or think that you're unqualified. You always can take steps to make it into industry you're interested in.
Great, thank you so much. Maybe next I'll go to Sophia. How do you think your career would have been without the MM or the BMM?
Definitely different. Honestly, if I stuck with food science, I thought, I think it was too technical. I was in some science internships, and I had a great time, but I couldn't see myself doing it long term for like the rest of my career. I didn't think it challenged me enough. I thought it was, you know, the same routine over and over again. And I thought that if now seeing it now, I think if I stuck to only my bachelor's degree, it would hinder my career options as opposed to challenge me where I am now. I think that that's something that I was missing. I missed the challenge. So.
Thank you. Carl.
Yeah, I was nodding the whole time because just because. So when I entered MM, I was entering in my third year, and that's when I finally started thinking seriously of what I'm gonna do after graduation. And I was like, I knew at the time that I had to work at a lab. Like I did microbiology after all. I need to experience what it's like working in science. But at the same time, I wanted to keep my options open. And business has always been attractive to me. So I was like, oh, why not? What ultimately drew me to apply is that knowing that it will open doors for me in the case that I decide not to stay in science. So I'm still technically in science, but on the business side. So where science and business intersects.
Great. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Akshat.
Yeah. So I think for me, since I was an international student, I didn't really had much of the options. Essentially, I think the thing which attracted to me about this program was the fact that it was a good short length program, and having worked already, having had that prior work experience, I thought that that's a great jump start. That just finish up your studies quickly and then just get on to the market. So I think that was something that I liked. But honestly, if someone's coming just straight after their undergraduate studies, then definitely that's a different situation, and you'll really have to gauge your situations, that how do you feel best confident with, but in my case, I just thought that since I have that experience, I think a shorter course duration will be a great fit, and that'll get me great speed to market. So yeah.
Okay, great. And I think you kind of hit onto a point that some of our students would be interested in. Akshat, maybe you can talk a little bit, and then we'll also go to Amber about this too, about your experience as an international student, like coming to Vancouver. Can you kind of comment on what that was like, kind of jumping over to Canada, kind of taking a degree, kind of starting things anew here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, yeah, it's been, honestly, for me, it's been a great journey so far from the time I landed in Canada. I think it's going to be 1.5 years for now. So I think one thing which is really different in this North American culture is, the culture of networking. Maybe back in our own countries, we might not be used to networking with people, but I think here you really need to get out of your shell and really start talking to people, because that is, the most important way how you get job these days. So I would just say, just opening up to that, new way of doing things. I think that's the greatest adaptation that everyone should do, in order to succeed on the path, on a good career path over here. And I think just the second is just devising your time properly, because you're living by yourself, you're doing everything, your meals and your everything, and then you're studying and then also networking. So I just feel that if you create like a schedule, or maybe just devise some time, I think that really helps you in navigating those 9 months, because they are going to be super busy. So you better come up with some action plan. Yeah, I would just say that.
And Amber, I know that you had some experience, obviously, in Vancouver, even during your time in your undergrad. Can you talk a little bit about, what like the American system is, and we don't have to go political here, but what the American system was like, kind of coming up from America and moving up to Vancouver?
Yeah, it's more similar than not, I would say. So there wasn't too much of an adjustment on that front. I think whenever you move to a new city, though, the first thing you think about is, where am I going to find my community? And I saw, is it Malika? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right, but I just saw your question pop up where it's like, did you feel a sense of community in your cohort? And I did. It was so important for me, and I'm sure Akshat can attest to this too. As soon as I moved here, I got to know everyone in the program, and it just felt like home instantly. So less so on the cultural side, not as many adjustments that needed to be made. Really, I just kind of threw myself in it. Yeah.
Thank you. And yeah, why don't we jump into Malika's question? Carl and Sophia, and maybe we'll hear from Sophia first and then Carl. Did you feel a sense of community within your cohort? Are there connections that you still reach out to now?
110%. I love my friends that I met during the MM portion. It was amazing. They honestly feel like family because you're with them pretty much 24/7 because you do everything with them. You have classes with them. You have projects with them, all that. And I still continue to reach out to them now. They're all in different parts of the world, but we keep in touch through Messenger or video chat or whatever. And I think these are lifelong friendships that you'll build in this program. And that's one of the things that I will continue to tell everyone that is interested in joining this program.
Oh, wonderful. Carl, what about yourself?
The same exact thing. We still have Facebook groups that we keep in touch with each other, message, and then during the program we would celebrate each other's birthdays just to get a break from like all the courses. We help each other with like interviews, preparing for them. Even now in our different roles, sometimes we run by ideas or even share job posts in our Facebook group. So it's going to be your friends, lifelong friends, as Sophia said.
Wonderful. Now I do have another, I was actually glad that you said the same thing. You backed each other up instead of saying I had complete 180, complete different experience. So good to know that you kind of supported each other in that. I have a question here from, I'm going to try to say this right, Achilles. Hello, everyone, and thank you for your time. Which was, in your opinion, your highlight from the MM or your time in the MM program? And how was your everyday life during this period of your life? So we kind of got a hint of that when you mentioned that it was quite busy. You were around each other 24/7. So I hope this really does kind of demonstrate to everyone listening that it is quite an intensive program, whether you're in the 9-month program or whether you're in that 6-month portion of the BMM. So I think I saw a quick head nod quickly from Amber. So maybe Amber, do you want to tackle this question first?
Sure. I'll start with my highlight of the program. And I know this isn't possible right now, but it was the Toronto trip that we went on. And so this was essentially a networking trip. And, we basically set up a series of coffee chats I think we were there about 4 days long. I ended up meeting with professionals at Procter & Gamble, Top Hat, Coca-Cola, and it was such an amazing experience that I would not have otherwise done. Never been to the city before, and I wouldn't have met these people if it hadn't been for this program. So that was really a highlight for me. And what was the second part of the question? What was life like during this period?
Yeah, I guess like pre-COVID. What was it like kind of day to day?
Yeah, I was on campus all day, really. All the same classes together, and it gets busy, and you're only taking courses for 5 weeks, and that's by in the blink of an eye. So just stay on top of everything. Don't get stressed, just enjoy it because it goes 9 months is really quick.
Akshat, yourself?
Yeah, I think for me, I also went to the Toronto trip with Amber, so yeah, truly agree to all what she said. And in addition, I was also doing this SCMP mentorship program, which was strategy consulting mentorship program. So I think that was intense. I remember, those 2 months were pretty intense. I used to come back just late nights at the home, and it was tough, I think, definitely. So I think one thing that I really recommend is definitely, doing, apart from your studies, just doing one additional thing that is related to your field. That'll really help you in your job search, because education does build a basic foundation, but you really need to put that extra efforts in order to get some, get specialized in one certain field or something. So I definitely recommend everyone joining at least just one thing, whatever you like. Join any club. There are so many clubs on UBC, or join, do some projects or do some work with some professor or something. But just take one thing that really keeps you more busy, which is not a great thing because you already are so busy, but still, just manage it effectively, I would say. Yeah.
Right. I know that we're kind of coming close to the hour, so maybe we'll jump really quickly, Carl and Sophia. Maybe Carl first. Kind of what was there any highlight for you, and what was the day-to-day like?
The highlight was the gala that we had towards the end, where we wrapped everything up. It's just really a nice bow tie to all the hard work that we done throughout. And then, as I said earlier, like we were really a family there. Like there's even one person that proposed to one of our classmates that were together. So that was like pretty cool. But yeah, but seriously, on the day-to-day, like in all honesty, the program is, I say that not to scare any of you, but to just actually appreciate that you're gonna overcome some of the challenges that you might have not imagined, but you're gonna like do them, and you're gonna find things later on as well. Seems to be easy and manageable in comparison to what you're gonna experience in the program. And it's because you've built up that resilience, you know, you've learned from your mistakes, and you've become mature, have gained wider perspective in life, and become more aware of what you want and so forth. So
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Sophia.
All right. For me, the highlight of the MM program was probably not school related at all, not academics related. It was, we would go out every weekend. We were such a close, tight-knit group. And I think that's what I will push to anyone. Like if you are in a cohort, really instill the sense of community, because the everyday life in this period of my, like last year, I took it last year. The last 6 months of last year was just school and them. That was my entire life. And I think that even a lot of courses, a lot of assignments, but I leaned on them for support, and just, it was fun. Yeah, I think that's just, it's going to be tough, but you can also make it fun if you lean on those people in your program.
Thank you. All your words and kind of positive experiences make me wish that I could go back in time many years ago to when I was a graduating student and apply for this program myself. So I do know that we are a little past the hour, so I do want to thank all of you today. Amber, Akshat, Carl, Sophia, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for this experience. Evan says that it really helps with the guidance to move forward in my school and working career. So it's appreciated by not only the attendees, but also by myself and the team, Keith and Patricia here, for all of your support. Thank you. I know that you're incredibly busy individuals. So I just want to say a big thank you, big congratulations, obviously, on your experiences and your futures post-DMM. So thank you very much for coming out today. For everyone else, thank you so much for showing up. Do keep in touch with me at kevin.lee@sauder.ubc.ca if you have any questions for myself or the panelists. Enjoy the rest of your days, everyone. Please stay safe out there, and hope the weather gets better if you're here in Vancouver. Okay. Bye, everyone. Cheers.